Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. I am Amalgamash, and I wanted to share a method for creating RPG maps without using a generator or other automated tool. There are a lot of world map generators out there that do all sorts of things, from create topography to assign biomes or even generate names for your cities and towns and villages. But this is 100% by hand, and it can become really rewarding once you've done it a few times, or even if you just watch me do it a couple times. So the first step is going to be to create this sort of grid, like you're setting up a game of noughts and crosses or tic-tac-toe. And now that you've done that, you have a map of 9 places. All right. So it does go more in depth than that. So let's just create another one now that we've warmed up. But now we're intentionally going to make our lines jagged, just a little bit. And you can do some and not all, or you can do all as you start to feel out where the map design is going. Not too curvy, just jagged. And now you've really got more of what could look like political boundaries. Hold on, this gets wilder. Now, whatever you put in these shapes is up to you entirely, whether they are goblin villages or deep forests, but I'll help you with that in just a bit. So for now, let's expand on this technique, and we'll create some curved lines closer to the outside boundaries and maybe close some of those in. So with this, we've just created the possibility of neighboring territories. So these arbitrary lines are where the elves said, okay, this is my side. Hold on, let's make him an elf. There we go, perfect. This is my side. And the dwarves said, all right, fine. All right, let's give him a beard. There we go, perfect. All right, yeah, that's great. All right, fine, but this is my side. Now we drew these jagged, like a political boundary might look if you look at it on any map. But we drew these outer ones more curved. It's because these are more representative of how the land itself might be shaped if we've got uninhabitable terrain up here. So here could be a range of mountains while the coast is down here. So we can draw the coast, which really kind of screws over this territory. And I've got like what looks like a pool here, but we'll just disregard that. So now that we've drawn just this small map, it's kind of easy to start letting this story write itself, let this world build itself. You can say, well, the elves are closer to this pond and the dwarves are closer to the forest, so the elves sustain themselves on fishing, and that's probably their economy. And the dwarves do a lot of wood cutting. If the dwarves were near the mountains, you could say that they just mined the mountains for ore and they had mines there. And this is probably like their economy, and you could start immediately building stories around these economies. That's probably how these two neighboring races might trade with one another. Okay, so let's expand again, and this time we're going to draw our game of tic-tac-toe much larger. I think you'll really like this. Not too crazy on the jaggedness this time. All right, so we have our very unequal territory lines drawn out, and you can go ahead and close them off whatever way you feel like. A range of mountains up here, a split in the earth along here, which will run a lot more straight, but not necessarily straight up and down. And this is our coast again. But we're going to repeat, and for each space on our crooked game area, we're going to draw another 9 areas just by using this method. You can do some of these lines completely straight along the jagged edges, and they actually do start to look more like states or provinces. Now keep going, and if you want to get a little crazy, you can just let the map speak to you. So I had those 2 lines kind of converge a little bit. That one's going to be wavy, and this one's going to be just barely there at all, and I'm even going to have it like break off. But each one of these sections is going to have 9 sections within. The map will tell you how it wants its economies and races to be if you just let it. And if you want to say not draw 9 territories, you can just do 1 large one, or split it in half, or make 3 or 4, or whatever you'd like to do. See, I'll leave this one here as 1 complete territory, and that can be where the evil Lord Emperor resides, the Bone King. and then these very unnatural lines down here, which I guess all political boundaries are unnatural, but you need not be drawing political boundaries every time if you don't want. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. This could be like the regions of the 8 commanders of the Supreme Bone King. So you can use this for tabletop RPGs or homebrew for Dungeons and Dragons. You can use this for video games, and you can have each adjacent area set up where the player would be able to travel in between the areas of your game. So obviously I'm using a paint program now, but you could just as easily use pen and paper. And actually I think that would be the preferred method. I'm just more not set up for that at the moment. So like you could connect the dots and have paths representing the roads that your adventurers would travel on to get to each of these main places. You might like to have guards patrolling these borders or establish checkpoints. You might alert the player that they are entering enemy territory and they now need to be aware of packs of kobolds roaming who have the right to attack and kill your party members on sight if they get caught. And if you're having trouble coming up with biomes, you can just assign a different biome to each side of a die. With any number of sides and roll it to get a random biome. And you can decide the logic in your game system as to how that biome would be, where it is placed among the other biomes. So I'm just kind of working randomly here, but the light green will be plains, the dark green will be forests, I didn't have those closed off. Dark brown will be mountainous areas. The dark red will be the evil Bone Lord and his many servants, the mid-bosses of the game. We've got some swamps. Then we've got places that are mostly water. And the dark gray areas will represent fortresses where the citadel keeps its bravest knights and where the holy clerics are trained. So there you go. There's our RPG map. There are limitless ways to do this, really. But hopefully I've sparked your imagination enough to get started laying down some groundwork and making your own map. You might be amazed at what kind of map you can come up with once you accidentally breathe life into it just by drawing up a simple game of tic-tac-toe. It is Devcember. This is more in the spirit of you can use this technique with any RPG engine and or tabletop systems if you so choose. Check the playlist for other game development ideas. I'll see you in the next video. Thank you very much for watching, and please let me know what you thought of this down below. Is this something that you think is interesting? Is this something that you would like to see more of? Something kind of in this vein. Something that I didn't think about while recording this video was the possibility of being able to name these territories and provinces and so on just by their shape. I put an arrow indicating the country that I might think looks like an anvil at a certain angle, and therefore you could call that one Anvil Pass. I kind of thought that these two countries side by side look like a lizard hunkered down and facing to the left, so I might call the green portion Lizard Pass and call the gray portion Lizard Tail Rock, or some such. Have a great day, and until then, bye for now.